Right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. You have been quietly listening since the morning and had good lunch. It's difficult with post-lunch sessions, but I will try and make it interesting as much as I can. The subject is quite vast and quite big that I'm trying to cover. Hope I'll do justice to it in the 30 minutes. If I'm not, I'm always available to answer any question. So let's get into it. Data platforms transformation. It's like when I think about it more and more, it's data transformation being done for many number of years, has gone bad, can't do anything, but the platform transformation is now needed. So this is the next step. When nothing works, all of the patches are being done, and absolutely we are not getting the results that we want, that's when we go for it. So the session I've split into two parts, maybe three. Why transformation or what is transformation is what we'll cover first. I'll give a bit of a brief that what I think our dictionary definition of transformation and how to put it in the context of data. We'll then talk about why part, that why we will do it and when we will do it. And then we'll go into the nitty-gritties of it, that once you decided how to attack this. And we'll end up with some tips. And these tips are personally curated and summarized by ChatGPT. Right. So that there is a dictionary definition of transformation. I was thinking how to explain that, and then I was like, okay, let's get the definition out from Google and try and put some text around it to understand, to give a little bit of a data platform context to the actual def. So here we are talking about it's a complete change in a character of something, and then the last thing there is improved. Now when I break it down, what I see is the change here is actually telling me the scope, that what and to what extent I'm going to change something to make it as a transformation, and that has to be complete. So any of the patchworks that we've been doing, no, that's not transformation, and we'll know why. Character of something is the components. We as a data engineers have been working with wide set of tools, wide set of technologies, and there is always one or other tool that we keep on building or we keep on adding to our data stack, and that basically talks about the components that that are involved as part of our transformation program, or the ones that we decide to change, and not everything need to change. The last and the important bit here is improved. Whatever we are doing here is to make sure that there is an outcome and there is an impact associated to the outcome. And it should be improving the lives of our users, the applications, the downstream consumers, or anything that is dependent on the data that we are generating or that we are processing. So now let's look at the stack. This is a very easy picture. We have been looking at it. We all are very much familiar with this thing. What we have got here is on the left, systems that are producing data. Then we get something in place to land the data, or what we call as ingestion. We have a giant thing there as a store. Now this can be your data warehouse, this can be your file layer, this can be your data lake. It can mean many things, and typically there are more boxes in your persistent layer, and this is the main layer that you use to store your data. On to the right, what you're seeing there is consumption. So there are multiple ways you can consume data. And then on the bottom, what we are seeing is your horizontals. Now these are the things that are applicable to everything. Now, when I look at this stack, what I'm looking at is every box there is telling me a tool or a technology. Every line there is a process or a pattern. And there are breakages that can happen, or there are scalability and reliability challenges in each and every box and the line that we see. With that, let's understand how these platforms evolve. Sorry. So, with the data platform, there are two more key things. Business, for whom we are building the platform, and the technology that we are using to build the data platform. While we are building the data platform, all of these things are changing. And so, along with data platform, business is changing, and so is the technology. when at the beginning, business is very much engaged. They are excited. It is the first time they are getting something to do with. Data platform teams or data engineers are excited as well. It's very tight coupling. We build things that is relevant, that is needed, using the technology that is recent. So everything at the start is always green. As slowly things change or move forward in the coming years, data engineers focus more on nice-to-haves, such as, shall we enable self-service? Do we need to have a data as API? Or do we need to do something better? Or do we need to have this operational thing, we need to add monitoring? Those are the things those are nice-to-haves that are required to run the system. That's where our focus is then. While business is actually using the data to make changes in the business. They are launching a new product. They are bringing a new IT system. So these people who helped us build the platform are the same people are now changing the same sources that are getting ingested. And as a data engineers, we have to respond to these changes. On the other hand, technology, that's a tricky one because we deal with many technologies. And technology changes more rapidly than the other two. In last 3 months, Snowflake did 12 releases. And that's only one vendor. We may be working with 10 such vendors or 10 such technology, and they have their own roadmap. And sometimes, as a data engineer, I have juggled. Okay, what to do? Shall I go back and fix that workaround? Or shall I add these 2 new metrics into the fact table that business has been asking? And that finding that right balance, sometimes, cracks starts to show up. That is the platform really scalable or not? As we move forward, that's when, typically in 2 to 3 years, we get to know whether data platform is working or showing the results or not. So that's when your scalability and reliability is put to test. Are we able to generate that finance report 9 a.m. in the morning? How many folks have done that? 9 a.m., finance report should be there. If not, somebody's going to scream at you. And exactly on a weekend, there is a business process changes, and your data type has changed from maybe varchar 250 to 50, and everything starts to break. So, along with these business changes, sometimes there are some major parties or there are influencers, like the things that are happening in technology, these conferences. You would be getting some ideas from here and trying to implement it, and that's a tech change. And some of these tech change or design change like data products, data contracts, data mesh, all these buzzwords get into the mind of data engineers, and they think, I can use that. I can change that process. But do you get the time? Maybe yes, maybe not. And that all piles up and gets you to a state, all right, how is now data platforms looking like? And there are some changes are disruptive. Gen AI, it changed everything. Every exec in the company now wants to have Gen AI as part of the data strategy. What is the use case? We don't know. We want Gen AI. All right, okay. You want generative AI. What do you want to do with it? Just put generative AI. Okay, cool. So what I'm trying to explain here is, if we are able to absorb the changes, you don't need to do transformation. Stop there. If your exec is telling you generative AI needs to be built in, and you are able to do it without any problems, don't watch any further presentation from this point on. That's it. But if the data platform is having challenges with it, let's look at the stress points. Or when exactly, or when you decide, all right, now this is the time. Now, I can go on and on about it, that I can spend an entire day in telling you all the problems that I've seen previously and in my current company. But let's track it down in 3 major areas. We've got change management, accessibility, latency, and complexity. Now, these I feel, are the 3 main pillars of understanding how good a data platform is. Are we able to make changes alongside business? Or does business have to wait for 6 months post-product launch to see that how your product is working or behaving? Are you always in reactive mode? Do you wake up every night in 2 a.m. only to figure out that there is a plan change happened and now records are getting filtered down? And numbers that we shown yesterday in the finance report are not accurate anymore. So you need to go back and rerun your data for a few days. Is your data platform discoverable? Over the time, we build a ton of content. But can users really find the content they need? And when they don't find it, we just stamp one more tool. Let's bring data catalog, put it in there. What catalog is going to do if the underlying processes are not working? What if your metadata is not right? So even having a tool is not going to solve the problem unless you do something about it when you are creating the content. The flexibility to build. A number of data architects, no offense, but they always have standards, which is good. We need to have standards. But as Joe was telling, there is no one way. And I completely agree. I'm going to steal that line. There is no one way. There is no one truth. There is no one God. We must have flexibility in the build process. If you always have to generate a surrogate key for a business key, maybe we need to think about the pattern and platform. Your increased downtime, if you have to stop your jobs to run something, there is a scalability challenge there. The latency complexity part is like, if only one senior data engineer in the team knows when and where to change, that's a problem. The things needs to be simple. Making things complicated is easy, but then it doesn't really pay you. I'm sure many would resonate with us. I've been those situations where someone has to, only tech lead can tell us, all right, go here, this is the package, go to line number 10, change this, and that's the task. Finding what to do takes more time than actually doing, right? Latency, I'm reasonable with 24 hours, very reasonable. I don't think business can survive anything less than 6 hours or maybe an hour. Now, with all the streaming patterns that we heard from Adi, business needs insights faster, quicker. And they also need quality data. Putting all of this together, it's a nightmare in my head as a data engineer, and don't know how to solve. But once you find these stress signs, we understand, okay, do we need to do transformation? If yes, then let's go into the next slide to understand how to do the transformation part. Now, in this slide, there are three key components of the whole company. It's not new. There is, sorry, I lost the connection. Well, I'll keep talking. The people, technology, and process. It is made up of these three things. People use technology, using some process to deliver results back to people. Now, when we talk about transformation, what we are saying is all three must change. These are the three vectors, they keep a balance. If we leave one or other apart, we're not going to get the result that we want to get. The science of the stress, the causes lie in these three boxes somewhere. And to top it all, organizational alignment or a senior exec buy-in. That's the critical thing to have. Data platforms transformation is an expensive thing to do. It's going to run for 3 years minimum. Anything below 3 years for a large-scale enterprise, I would be, really surprised if that happens. But we are changing, overhauling a lot of things here, and it takes time. You need your senior leadership to be completely onboarded with it. Two of these things, people and process, can only be changed only when your leadership is on board with the idea. If not, it's very difficult to make that change. As engineers, we can make technology much better, but without the help of other two, we can't sustain longer. So let's look at the technology part. Now, this is the same diagram which we saw previously. The first task is to understand what's working, what's not working. This is about knowing your own yard. This is about knowing what are the producers of the data and who are the consumers of the data, what we are doing in the middle, and what parts are working, what parts are not working. Not, as I said, not everything needs to change. There are green dots, there are yellow, there are reds. If it is full of reds, yeah, we are in trouble. If everything is green, again, stop wherever you are, don't proceed. Only change people and process, because the technology is just perfect. You only need to change process or people. Once we know our own yard, there are things, this particular image coming from Gartner. Gartner did in 2017, they did a data maturity framework. There are many companies who have done that. Don't have to follow Gartner. What's important is to understand, take the things that are there shared in various forums or various places. You take that out and put a context of your own company to it and understand that which level you are currently in and where you want to go. Let's say after identifying your own platform, people and processes, we figure out, all right, we are at level 2, but we want to go to level 4. It's ambitious, it's good, but why is the answer. And that's when we start to identify what is the impact, what is the outcome that we would be able to produce to the users of the data by going to the level 4, what sort of benefits we're going to get by doing that. The gap between these two is the thing that you need to do. Now, to do that gap, or to do the thing, we need a plan. That's the plan. And I don't want you to focus on the boxes. It's a busy slide. What I want to focus you on is 3 things, the 3 pillars of a data team. The 3 pillars are your platform, content, and evangelism or enablement. Many of the engineers, we are good with platform and content. Teams have lacked in enablement part. And these 3 areas are really critical. When you take on the challenge of data platform transformation, the first thing you need is a hero project. The project that your business really needs to kickstart, or it's using cutting technology, or it could be AI or ML-based product, or it could be something that they have been struggling with for so many years and they want you to solve it. You pick that and run your platform transformation with it. And early delivery is key to success. Anything that you deliver in first year is going to shape up how the next 2 years is going to look like. And the most important one, if your plan does not include decommissioning, don't do it. While you are struggling with one platform, and without decommissioning, you're going to end up with 2. And if you do it again, you're going to end up with 3. Don't do it. So if you can't kill something, don't bring up a new system. It's really important that you have a decommissioning plan to attack and how to, what things are included in it. So first year, we build the platform, we deliver the first use case, we make sure that we are delivering value back to the business and they want to invest more. Most likely by the end of second year, you would be having majority of your analytics models refactored or rebuilt in the new platform, and this is when you tell your users that, folks, by the end of this year, you're not going to have access to the old platform, and you kill it. You kill the access first before user starts to cry. There are users who will just walk away. They'll be like, nah, that's fine. I've got reports that are built in elsewhere that I can use, and they actually don't need it. So a lot of things that you want to plan for year 3, you may not even have to do it because users don't need all of the data that you had previously. So it's when you move house, it's like you always pick everything with you, but do you really need everything? If you have given an option that no, you're only going to get a 1 meter cube truck and not a 9 meter cube, just fit the things that you want. Maybe you don't want that extra luggage. That's the end of technology part, and typically engineers stop here, but success lies in the next 2 parts of it. So this is how we all work with people, we all work with teams. Stakeholders are people. While we have AI and machine learning advanced, we still work with people. And to success of any other project, working with people is really critical. And having right team size with the right set of people with the right skills is important. How we shape the teams. Are we making teams only based on engineers? What outcome are they required? I mean, you will only get engineering solution outcome if you build teams with only engineers. If you have a cross-functional team, then you get a use case, then we get an outcome. And that's what we did at Xero. And it was, in my last company, we did it far better. The teams were truly cross-functional, meaning you have folks from business, you have folks from software engineering team, integration team, including data engineers and visualization, all sitting together to deliver outcome for the business. We are cutting a lot of validation process, we are cutting a lot of communication challenges, and we just get straight to the point. And it is the responsibility of that team to get to the outcome, which means a business folk or a business analyst is also on the hook to deliver it. It's not only data engineer's job. It's the job or the responsibility of everyone. Decision making, I mean, the number of hours that I have spent in deciding on something is is enormous. And bigger the team, the bigger the challenge. Solve that, attack that first. Have folks that that can make those decisions. If it means creating roles, do it. If it means making some process changes, like you have a forum, you have some sort of format or a template where folks can add details and then it goes through a cycle of acceptance, we do it. Or even better, provide a safe environment for people to make their own decisions. If it works, it's fine. If it doesn't work, it's fine. We would be continuing to do transformation over and over again. It's a cyclic process. So nothing is permanent. So a bad decision is fine. It's just that having that safe environment and being ability for folks to work freely. Training and enablement. The last two transformation projects that I've been to, the technology we used or we moved from A to B, none of the teams were trained on it. It's not about engineering or training the builders, it's about training the users as well. Ultimately, success of the platform lies in its usage. If there are no users or there are no use cases running on it, it's not going to stay for longer. It can be used only when users are trained. Builders are trained to build it, but users are trained to use it and to give you or tell you that what more they need. The enablement part, as I keep focusing on, supporting users to onboard and use. You have tight collaboration among the people of various parties and tell them there are many pods that would be working on this project. There would be platform pod, at least maybe 2 platform pods, 2 or 3 content pods, 1 enablement pod. They all are working towards one single vision. They need to know each other. They need to know what each of these pods are doing. Collaboration, communication, these are the things should be invested in. Having a good pathway to share knowledge, share plan, and understand dependencies upfront will help us. And this is all done via some sort of internal process or managing the people part. That then takes me to the next part of presentation, which, if it works. There you go. Now I'm back on tips, process. So after people, the process one, now this is outside of data team. We can have a lot of processes within data team. We can have a lot of organization within data team, and that's all fine. But the external factors, if there is no change happening in those areas, we would still not have the success. And these external factors are alignment with business. We know as one of our stress signs, if we don't change with the business, we're going to fall behind. And a key in the whole of this operation is that is business aware of what data is doing? Is data aware what business is doing? Do they know that where business wants to go? What business wants to do next? Do they want to create a campaign program in next 2 months to generate better leads, or do they have any marketing program to generate or to launch a new product? What do they need from data? If that is not defined in the business strategy, data can surely can't deliver. And what usually happens once after a product launch, it happens, it was there. Billing team just launched a new product and they migrated few plans over. The discounts have changed. We forgot to tell you. And that's because things are not aligned with each other. There is lack of change management and people don't know. Data is not considered as a connected system because typically we'll sit in the corner extracting all data from producers and do some reporting. It needs to come in front. Now, this has been said many times over, but the problem still exists. Integrating data expertise to your business teams. So usually business teams do not have data engineers or data analysts. So it's really important to have these data expertise into the business teams. They understand data better. They understand platform better. They will be able to use it better. They will be able to give you requirements better. The data engineering team would be able to curate the things that they're asking and will put a ton of context for data engineers to work on. Just kills the cycle of, communicating, shortens, brings you clarity, and, your constant communication is being shrunk down to, maybe a few chats. And you have the clarity, all right, this is what is needed. The last bit there, which I touched upon very briefly, was change management And if data team is not part of your org change management, or if your organization doesn't have a change management, then it's a bigger worry. So if it doesn't exist, we need to build one. And the senior execs and your leadership that actually said yes to the transformation program should make that change. That's the end of how process. I will just quickly go, this is the last slide, tips. Now this is, as I said, I had a lot of tips. I couldn't summarize, threw it to ChatGPT, and it came back with these 3 things or 4 things. So high impact projects is the really key thing. If we are not prioritizing our high impact projects in the earlier phase of the program, things will start to break. People will lose trust. They will not have any value. There won't be any user. Adoption of your tech depends on your high impact projects. If there is adoption, people will move faster. You will have less things to do in the decommissioning part because people would have already moved over. There is a huge interest. Iterate and simplify your delivery. Do little things, do it more often. While simple is complex, but we want to do things always in the best way, that this is the best engineering solution that we'll be building. We want to cover all the edge scenarios. That's fine. Just make sure that focus is on value delivery. Balance innovation with legacy. While there are a lot of tools, a lot of SaaS products that are there in the market that we want to make use of, not every SaaS product will behave the way it says it behave in the environment that you have got. These SaaS products are not built on your environment. So there are always nuances. If you think you want to get that new fresh ingestion tool, make sure that you run it on your platform for a while with your own data. And not everything in legacy is wrong. There are things in legacy that are done right. You just have to change the platform. Don't have to change anything in there. So not everything needs to change. Avoid over-engineering. That's the key thing. Don't code for edge cases. I spend a lot of time in managing exception scenarios than actually doing the thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I'm there just in case you want to have more chat.